And now for round 4 here from Grand Prix Chicago. Hello and welcome to coverage of Grand Prix Chicago. Marshall Sutcliffe, I'm in the booth with Brian David Marshall, and we're underway in round 4 here. Christian Calcano versus Jared Boettcher. And Calcano, well, he's on Blue Devotion. There's only one deck that plays turn 1 Cloudfin Raptor, and that's it.
There's only one deck that plays turn 2 Pack Rat.
Probably, yeah.
Although we discovered in the trials 3 different flavors of it, and it looks like Jared Boettcher, the sort of who's out ahead of the Rookie of the Year race, has gone for the black-red version that runs cards like Rakdos' Return or Mizium Mortars or Dreadbore, something along those lines.
Right.
In fact, all of those.
So this is a great start for both decks. Turn 2 Pack Rat for Boettcher, and Calcano kicks off with double Judge's Familiar, and here's a second Pack Rat for Boettcher, which is going to allow him to attack with impunity thanks to the Mutavault.
Right.
They can sit back there, become active, and make the Pack Rat even bigger.
Right.
He waits until there's no blocks and then activates his Mutavault just to get in the extra damage.
And there's a Night Veil Spectre.
So a really perfect curve out here from Christian Calcano. He played one drop, and then right into the Night Veil Spectre.
Yeah, and this is, I was talking to a player who said this deck is the best aggro deck in the format.
The mono blue
The mono blue list, yes.
35.
So now suddenly those Judge's Familiars with the tap plan coming into play for Boettcher have like Flag Bearer ability on a removal spell.
All right, so what does Boettcher have?
He has another rat.
He's got...
He made another rat.
He just made a rat.
Yep. Got in for 6.
So we have a good old-fashioned race on our hands here.
He said, nah, I can beat you from here.
Now, who do you think usually wins this race? Turn 2 Pack Rat making another Pack Rat plus a Mutavault, or the curve out?
I feel like the rat race always wins.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things about the Blue Devotion list is that it doesn't have very many ways to interact with your opponent, right? This isn't like a counterspell deck or a removal-based deck. It has a couple of ways to deal with incredibly problematic permanents, but in normal state of play, it's looking to just develop its own board and keep its own agenda moving forward.
And this game's not going to go long enough to get to the one Cyclonic Rift stage of the game.
Right. Which would be a savage blowout, but yeah. Maybe just firing off the Cyclonic Rift without Overload is enough to swing the race here potentially.
It certainly can make a difference.
So Calcano's doing a little combat math here. He's going to get a trigger from Night Veil Spectre, which is going to reveal a swamp. He has not played a land yet this turn, so he can play that if he wants. No reason not to.
And the issue is there's also 2 Mutavault. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's just one Mutavault.
Just one Mutavault. Is this Thassa? No, this is a second Night Veil Spectre. So, again, the curve continues to be good for Christian Calcano. But he is going to have to chump block this. But
he has to block every single one of those. Well, he's at 11, so
he's at 11.
But they all represent 5.
Yep.
And what is Calcano coming back for? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
7. He's going to have to block.
Well, he's going to have to block 1, yeah.
Familiar.
So 7.
Yeah. That's not 10. So we're looking at a tough spot here for Calcano.
I mean, this is almost like a steroidal limited game.
It does feel like that, doesn't it?
In the sense of like, that the game is going to be determined over two combat steps.
Yep. Good old-fashioned race here.
And then when we looked at the metagame from the trials, these were the 2 number 1 and number 2 archetypes in terms of the most successful in terms of generating wins. We had 6 black players win trials, 3 blue players win trials.
I thought that was interesting too, because we've seen this standard format churn over so many different times, but here we are near the end of the season, and still it's the 2 traditionally most popular decks for this format still winning, and even in our feature match area round
so
1.
Calcano's on 3. Betcher chose not to make another rat. Was just happy with the chump blocks, rather leave his mana open.
Yep, all of his rats are lethal still. He's left up Hero's Downfall here. And I think he might also have a Rakdos' return, so if he can either kill something important of Calcano's.
Yes, come on, baby.
Ooh. Oh, you see that from Calcano. He hit a Gray Merchant, but he needed to hit a Swamp in order to cast it. And that would have been game. If he hit Swamp Gray Merchant, it would have been game.
There's Thassa. There's Tidebinder Mage.
And Calcano's tapped out. That's going to let Betcher fire off. He's just going to make a rat here, actually. Calcano only has...
You have 3 blockers, I have 4 attackers.
Right, Calcano can deflect that to the judge's familiar.
Yes.
But yeah.
But it's still enough to kill him.
And he can still pay for it. And
yep.
Yeah.
So
He's like, hey, I want my swamp back.
Betcher gives him to get over here to his swamp. But a really close one there. You saw Calcano rub his hands together. He was that close, and he was halfway there after revealing that Gray Merchant.
So both players opting for the goofy hat look. Although probably a little more significance attached to Christian Calcano's hat.
That's right.
He's of course wearing a panda, which is Mariah Pagliaccio. Yeah.
Yep.
Here we're going to look at Carl Johnson versus Brad Nelson. I guarantee you that you're going to read some cards on Brad Nelson's deck list.
Now, what is Brad up to?
He's playing Naya Planeswalkers.
Okay.
With
sounds cool.
Scion of Vitu-Ghazi ×4.
What? That's the one that makes tokens?
It makes a bird when it comes to play, and then it populates.
Yes.
So I
love that card.
Yeah, look at all the different kinds of tokens he can populate. He has Perforos God of the Forge in his deck, and he cannot remotely
he doesn't get active
to get there on Devotion.
Oh, that's insane. It just serves as a win condition for dealing damage and pumping up his token team.
Right.
That's awesome.
And we see Carl Johnson, of course, playing. He's playing mono black. Kind of interesting. Not the Pack Rat deck, but he's gone for mono black aggro. This was a deck that we saw do well in the trials also.
Yeah, I did. It won one.
Gnarled Scarhide, Life Being Zombie, Cackler, up to Demon, but he's got Mogis' Marauders to sort of steal those wins out of nowhere.
And it does look like he's on the steady beatdown path here.
Right. Token sacrifices to tap the Desecration Demon. As that looks like a Pain Seer. Yeah. Brad extends the hand.
Well, now, was that the... wow.
Boy.
Jeez. Wow, it looks like Brad Nelson got slaughtered there.
Yeah.
I mean, that was quick.
Yeah, interestingly, Brad's best matchup for this deck is apparently mono black Devotion.
Regular mono black.
Mono black Pack Rats, and feels really confident in that matchup, but this is clearly another animal altogether.
Sure.
And that animal is Gnarled Scarhide.
Yeah, no kidding.
So, this is a huge tournament, the first of 3 huge tournaments for Calcano.
Okay.
Right? Like, it'd be nice for Jared Betcher to get to get past 43 points, get those last points, get to 45, become platinum before Portland. Chris Calcano is on 38 points for the season. He needs 7 points between 3 Grand Prix and 1 Pro Tour, so he's going to get 3 points. So 4 more points.
That'll get him to
4 extra points to get to platinum.
Level. It's such a huge deal for a guy like Calcano too.
Yeah, I mean,
he's a grinder. I mean,
but he wants to go to all the events. The appearance fees at the Grand Prix to help defray that. The traveling to going to all those events.
He goes to a lot of events too. He's really dedicated himself this year to going to every event, and I mean, as you can imagine, that's not cheap. So
this is someone who needs 4 points. He needs he needs a very strong Grand Prix finish, or he needs a run on day 2 at the Pro Tour.
Wow, I can't believe how quick that Brad Nelson match went.
Yeah,
I mean,
that was.
like. I thought we were looking at game 1.
Yeah, no. Live looking was almost a misnomer.
No kidding. We looked in. Not a lot of living going on. All right, so Calcano's going to be on the play here. You can see that Boettcher's currently 23rd on the top 25 pro rankings. Christian Calcano has fallen off of that list, but
he's
not
still
too far
hovering,
away. Yeah, he's always right around there. All right, another good start here for Calcano with the Cloudfin Raptor. Now, what's the follow-up? Ooh, nothing.
Zippo, huh?
That's significantly worse than last time.
And there's a pack rat.
Here's the pack rat.
Does Calcano have something?
He's thinking.
Does he have the one Cyclonic Rift? Does he got a, Pongify or whatever the new Pongify?
You can just keep calling it Pongify.
Yeah, he does have the Cyclonic Rift.
All right, so he's going to use it as a tempo play to keep Pack Rat from developing the board here. Oh, man, brutal follow-up for Calcano, though. Just a second Cloudfin Raptor. Now, those don't look too good here. This isn't BioBlight, is it? Don't do that.
Oh.
Okay, it's a Pack Rat again. And sure enough.
He does have the rapid hybridization.
He does indeed. So he's going to make that into a 3-3 Frog Lizard and add, all right, a really nice turn 3 play here to the board. And that's going to get him in for a couple of damage here as well.
Gets in for 2.
So
First blood in the match.
Yeah, Night Veil Spectre. I mean, look, if you're going to miss plays on turn 2, getting Night Veil Spectre on 3 is pretty nice.
Hey, let me ask you a question. What was going on with that Temple of Epiphany is just an extra. We saw a blue-red land come off the top.
Oh, from Boettcher?
From Boettcher, yeah.
My assumption would be that it's a, wow, really? A blue-red land?
Yeah. It was.
I mean, obviously, it's like a red temple, so that makes sense,
yeah.
but.
Temple of Epiphany, right? Mm-hmm. But I don't think it does anything.
Interesting.
Other than foil Calcano's dreams there, right? Like if that had been even if it had been a black land, it would have needed to be untapped. Sure. All right, so Hero's downfall befalls the Spectre. Oh, Master Waves.
All right, well, we see now why Calcano kept, because after the first couple of Cloudfin Raptors, which weren't too exciting, things got a lot more exciting as he was able to go Night Veil Spectre potentially into Master Waves. Now, the Spectre didn't survive that, but still, Master Waves not too bad, even in this spot here.
I think it looks like a Gray Merchant in hand for Boettcher.
Due a long way to shoring up the ground game here, as it would make attacks from Calcano pretty bad. But Hero's downfall instead is going to take down the Master Waves. But Boettcher's got problems here. Those Cloudfin Raptors are yucky. There's a Mizium Mortars to take out one of them. Boettcher knows
I wonder if
those are going to make short work of him.
That's got to be what that extra red land is for. So he just wants to have like some possibility of ever overloading the Mizium Mortars.
Sure.
I guess.
Yeah, I mean, still off color. All right, and Calcano's going to activate his Mutavault after playing Thassa, God of the Sea, and get in there for 4. So Boettcher's life total under siege here. He falls down to 10, but Calcano's at 11.
Yeah, he's taking a beating from that token.
Yeah, there's that temple again. I mean, it does let him potentially cast extra things. I don't know. That's interesting.
So he's got a Temple of Epiphany, a Mana Confluence.
I mean, Boettcher's on Night Veil Spectre, right?
So yeah,
he's not doing the Lifebane zombie thing.
Correct.
Yeah, so maybe he just wants it to be able to occasionally cast something blue too. It's kind of interesting.
Right. It also gives him 10 red sources in the deck. So.
And it's a Scry land, of course.
All right. Calcano does a little thinking. Activates Mutavault.
Yeah.
Is he going to make his Mutavault unblockable?
I don't think so. I think Calcano would be fine to trade a Mutavault for a Pack Rat here. Betcher looks at his hand. We can see he's got a Gray Merchant sitting there, maybe even a Dreadbore as well. And he's really given some thought to what his play is here. I mean, of course, if he blocks with the Rat, it does take out the Mutavault, stem some bleeding potentially, but it can leave him very vulnerable as well.
Okay.
As he would be left with just the one Pack Rat and no activation available.
There's a Trickbinder Mage. Or Tidebinder Mage.
Tidebinder Mage.
Trickbinder Mage would be sweeter.
Trickbind Mage.
Stifle the effect of that fetch land and all future fetch lands.
Beat down with a 2/2. I like this card.
Did he tap the token?
Yeah.
Did he point to it, or? It looked like he just played it and was like.
I'm sure he did.
Okay.
So Betcher makes a Rat. And here's Dreadbore.
Dreadbore's the Tidebinder.
That's going to help keep Thassa at bay as well and clear the way for an attack this very turn. And I think he's going to activate Mutavault. Is he going to activate Pack Rat as well? No.
I mean, he's got that Gray Merchant in hand.
I think he discarded
he discarded the Merchant. Yeah, you're right.
I think he made it into a Rat. So Calcano gets his Scry here, and that's really all that Thassa has done this game so far, is given him the Scry ability on the upkeep. Hasn't been able to get Thassa into creature mode here.
Just trying to figure out where those last 2 points can come from.
It's pretty brutal here too, because remember, Betcher has 3 mana up. He can make a Rat. He can have a removal spell.
Yep.
Calcano's going to attack. What did he find? Master Waves. And he basically says, I'm going to cast this. Do you want to respond? No response. Now do you want to kill it? Don't make me grab the tokens.
Yeah.
That's a huge one for Calcano.
Okay.
And Betcher doesn't have anything, so he's going to make a Rat on end step and say go. And Calcano can survive here. Potentially, let's see, 3. Yeah, he can survive here, but it's close. Wow. And if Betcher were to move all in and not be able to do anything about it, then that Mutavault could actually kill Jared Betcher if it's paired up with the Cloudfin Raptor and Thassa.
3/3 Rats. Can make another one, can activate a Mutavault.
Yeah, he's got a ton of power up here, but with 4 blockers.
But all Calcano needs to do is get to his turn with his Cloudfin Raptor alive and mana to activate his Mutavault and his Thassa.
Right.
Okay, but we got something.
He's going to play Underworld Connections. And are we drawing a card? We are.
Well, yeah, because if he can figure out something that deals with that Master of Waves, he could just rampage in.
Yep. Yeah, Doomblade. Ultimate Prize, something like that.
Nope.
And that's going to do it. Calcano finds the win there.
Well, thanks to like a slow draw out of the gates.
Absolutely.
Right? He went Cloudfin Raptor, but had no subsequent play on that until turn 3.
Yeah, I mean, those were 2 very, very close games.
Or until turn 4,
cool.
I guess,
he missed a drop.
He missed a drop on his turn 3.
He did. But that was awesome, and Calcano squeaked out a victory there. You know, when he looked at his top card for his Scry ability on Thassa, he looked at it for a second, but I mean, that Master of Waves was a big deal. Like, any single blocker doesn't get it done there.
Yeah.
he needs to make 4 creatures, to be able to survive. It's pretty insane.
So you had an opportunity before this round started. You were coming up to the hall, and you were on the escalator with Chris Calcano, and he was there with Raymond Perez Jr., a good friend of his. Raymond is the next closest pursuant of the Rookie of the Year title. He's about 17 points off of Jared's lead. And Jared has more or less said, I think I have this thing on lockdown, right? So what was did you get any reaction from those guys?
Yeah, it was funny.
How they feel about the sort of Jared's, bravado.
Yeah, he's like, he's like, this guy has to win a PT to catch me.
Right, that's what Betcher said.
Yeah, Betcher's just like, what am I supposed to do? And both Calcano and Perez were like, yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
And they seemed, they weren't just fooling around. Like, they're like, yeah, okay, win a PT.
Yeah, I had a chance to talk to both Betcher and Perez in my column last week or the week before, just talking about the rookie race. And I got to tell you, I've already been super impressed with Jared.
Yeah.
Obviously just made an incredible debut. But Perez, I thought his season has been a little up and down, right? He came out of the gates pretty strong, had a top 16 at the Pro Tour, was out in the lead of the Rookie of the Year race early on, and then really kind of stumbled, didn't day 2, Valencia, and was essentially off the Pro Tour.
Oh, wow.
He's like, I am not qualified for Portland. And he's like, I'm in the middle of this Rookie of the Year race. I don't have any more cues. I used my silver invite. I got to wait till next year to start over.
Right.
Goes, talks to some people about it. They're like, where he was like almost like getting ahead of himself, Perez, and so now he's really focused on one game at a time. And
that can happen when you experience success in a big rush.
Right.
It can kind of
it can get to you.
Go to your head a little, or just make you think that you're a little further along than maybe you are. Yeah. It's the scariest person is the one who realizes that, though, and gets back in the trenches and it's just like,
remember when Conley realized it?
Yes. Ugh.
Yeah, so
those are the scary. I'd much rather have my opponents thinking that they're fantastic when they're
I'm really curious to see what Raymond Perez is going to do over the next 4 events.
Interesting. I'm sure he is, too.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Hey, is Neil Oliver on that list at all?
Neil Oliver has used up his silver invite. I believe he's done.
Okay. He's here.
He's here?
He is here.
Okay. So, interestingly, he could get himself to gold, right?
But he's not he can't Rookie of the Year?
He could. Well, he would have to probably, get himself to gold to go to Portland. And he's actually ahead of Raymond Perez in points. He's just not qualified.
I see.
So, yes, he could.
I've been keeping my eye on him for a while.
Oh, yeah, super impressive.
Yeah.
They win a 4,500 person GP. I was like, oh, sure, whatever. Someone had to win. It was gigantic, Masters. And he's like, oh, I'll finish second to this other GP, and I'll only lose
to Huey.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
It was good, yeah.
Swamp, Beautiful, double knife.
So Betcher's on 6 here.
None of those cards are packed right, so
Calcano was like, yep, keep in mind.
So we're going to get a game 3 here between Christian Calcano and Jared Betcher. Both players on 3 buys, so this is their first actual round of the tournament.
Just to give you a little bit of idea of what else was going on in the feature match.
No one drop for Calcano. Go ahead.
We had one of the sort of Boros burn decks versus Shuhei Nakamura playing mono black. And we also had another mono blue, mono black matchup with Owen Turnwald on the mono black side.
Okay.
So we'll try to find out.
Yeah, okay.
We'll try to find out for people who won those matches.
All right, we get to see what Christian Calcano kept here. No one drop, but he's going to get Thoughtseized, and we're going to see a Frostburn. We're at a Bident.
I feel like I haven't seen many Bidents.
No, but they usually only run like a couple, right?
Yeah.
Still, this hand looks pretty sweet, actually. Cyclonic Rift and a Night Veil Spectre round things out there. So Betcher's got to decide what he wants to take here.
The Night Veil Spectre?
It's certainly a huge issue if he doesn't have an answer to it. He can also stumble Calcano's development and just take the Frostburn Weird if he wants. He might not have an answer to the Biden of Thassa down the line, and if Betcher thinks that this game's going to go long, he might want to peel that.
Biden of Thassa is such a not this turn problem.
No, I know, but look, if Betcher has a handful of removal, and he's like, well, I'm going to kill the Frostburn Weird, I'm going to kill the Nightveil Spectre, that Biden becomes a big deal down the line. And traditionally speaking, red-black, this red-black list doesn't have a lot of answers to it. In fact, it might have none. So it kind of depends on what's in Betcher's hand, what he wants to pick.
I feel like that Nightveil Spectre is...
That's out of here. No, it's a Biden.
There you go. Okay. Good call.
Maybe he heard me. No, we're pretty far away. All right, so Calcano does get to play Frostburn Weird on turn 2.
And that'll keep the Mutavault
it'll keep it
from getting anywhere.
Interestingly, though, this game is shaping up as both players are kind of gearing up for a little bit longer of a game. Like Calcano with no 1-drops means he's not going to have that explosive start. Explosive, probably not a good word for it anyway. Realistically, this deck doesn't have explosive starts, but it does, establish his board presence very early.
He lost with an explosive start in game 1. He drew the 3rd island for the Nightveil Spectre. Is that just going to die?
It will, but it's going to be a Dreadbore that ends up killing it, which is super awkward for Betcher, because now he's got to use basically his whole turn worth of mana to kill it, and he's not developing his board at all here. He's taking a little bit of damage here and there from the Frostburn Weird as well.
He's done more damage to himself than the Frostburn Weird has.
Yeah, he's just going to be, he's going to be pecking away at him. But I mean, we've seen it before too. Once Calcano is done sort of dumping his hand on the battlefield, I mean, that Frostburn Weird can get in for big chunks of damage down the line. It will have to be dealt with at some point, or maybe a Gray Merchant or something. No block, so Calcano still dedicated himself to tapping out here. What is it going to be? Is it Jace? No, it's Master of Waves. So instant board presence here for Christian Calcano. Now he has Mutavault plus 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, up to 12 power on the battlefield here. So ball's in your court, Jared Betcher. You must come up with something here.
That looks like something.
That is an ultimate price, so a good start. That's going to clear out 8 of the power and leave Calcano with where he started. 1 stack.
You start getting in here with the
Frostburn Weird. Nope.
No, obviously maybe sitting, at least even if it doesn't have it, representing a hero's downfall.
Yeah, he could do that, or just a block from Mutavault, like if Calcano wants to get in with his own Mutavault. And here comes Frostburn Weird, and again Calcano declines to pump.
Card's never gotten pumped.
Oh, it will. Although Calcano has interestingly left up 2 mana, so he can fire off that Cyclonic Rift if there's something worthy. And Betcher looks like he had an idea for what he wanted to play for the turn and has thought better of it. And it's going to be a Nightveil Spectre. Calcano says, sure. Draws a card for the turn. Ooh! Domestication.
Well.
Yuck. All right, Calcano.
Mate Zadelkai says hello.
And there it is. The Frostburn Weird pump. And that's 3 damage into Betcher, but that turn was really nasty if you're sitting in Jared Betcher's seat. As
it's extra sweet when you're stealing your opponent's permanents with their own Nightveil Spectre, right?
Yeah, it's so brutal. Also, if Calcano finds a Thassa active for days. 10 devotion on Calcano's side without Thassa even being there. So there's Gray Merchant. But this is this isn't good. This is where Jared Betcher is just kind of trying to not die for a couple of turns, but things are going to get out of hand really quickly here. Calcano can attack safely with all of his creatures. He just declined to pump the Frostburn Weird that gets blocked. He can pump the other one or just have the damage go through. Of course, he's going to start getting cards off of Nightveil Spectre.
That's exciting.
Yeah. And it hits for 2. It's like things are going to fall apart pretty quickly here if Betcher can't find some answers. Yeah. Ye old 2-for-1 is still good, it turns out. And here's a block. Even in constructed. And it looks like, interestingly, Calcano's actually going to trade it. Yeah, he wants to get the devotion off the table, it looks like, and as well as just getting the blocker off the table as well. I think that was an ultimate price that was revealed. Calcano can't cast it at the moment.
He'll hit a blue-red temple. Still won't be able to cast it.
All right, and here's Mutavault, both being activated and both jumping in front of Frostburn Weird. So Calcano's going to be pretty tempted here to kill both. He could also just try to kill one and kind of force Jared's hand in case Jared has a removal spell, but he doesn't.
Yeah.
And so Calcano's going to take the safer line of just killing one. Is that?
It was the blue-red temple.
Was it really? There it is. So that temple can cast. It's a red source in Betcher's deck that can also cast Nightveil Spectre.
Right.
But it's basically the only non-black source that Calcano can hit that's a land. All right, so there's Thassa. We mentioned Thassa a minute ago. She is active.
Betcher's down to 9, by the way. Of course, you can just look in the upper left hand of your screen and see that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Betcher pretty clearly out of gas here. Has to just play a land and say go. Calcano does have lethal if he wants to go for it, but he's not going to. Still going to prompt a chump block here from Betcher, even if it isn't a lethal attack.
Calcano can say unblockable in response, right? Yeah.
Yes. But he left his Mutavault back. And there's a Desecration Demon off the top, and Jared Betcher falls to 2. So, any idea why you wouldn't just send Mutavault in there? I guess he couldn't make all of them unblockable.
Guess he just didn't feel like anything, yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe he didn't. I think he was maybe 1 mana short from activating Mutavault and making it and Thassa unblockable.
Yeah.
So, he actually gets in more damage this way. And that's going to do it. Christian Calcano is our winner here in round 4 from Chicago.
On
this
his
is the
quest
first
for
one.
Platinum.
Yeah, he's on a quest. He needs this.
Yeah. He's found a vein.
Yeah. And
he's mining it.
Yeah. So he's got a few more